Hey there, have you ever woken up feeling like you're already late to the race? Like you're juggling 10 things at once, trying to steer the ship, and wondering if you'll ever catch a break? I know that feeling all too well. That relentless urge to control every small detail. It might seem like the only way to avoid disaster, but in reality, it's often the very thing that pushes us right up against burnout. Imagine you're at the edge of a cliff, gripping the stones so tightly that your knuckles turn white. You think, if I just hold on harder, I won't fall. But the harder you grip, the more exhausted your arms become, and the closer you edge toward the drop. That's exactly how stress works when we try to micromanage our lives. We think control equals safety, but in truth, it can leave us trapped, tense, and completely worn out. What if I told you that the real power doesn't come from squeezing harder, but from learning to release, just a little at first, and trusting that things will still be okay? That's the essence of Stoic philosophy. And yes, I realize Stoicism might conjure images of ancient robes and marble busts. But hear me out. Thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca had something timeless to teach us about stress, serenity, and success. Now, I'm not here to sell you a magic trick or a get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't about sitting around hoping the universe will hand you your dreams on a silver platter. Instead, we're going to explore simple, powerful practices rooted in centuries-old wisdom that help you let go of the constant grind, reclaim your focus, and attract what you truly desire. And yes, it's entirely possible to do all of this without burning out. Let's start by zooming out for a second. Think back to any time when you felt completely overwhelmed, maybe at work, in a relationship, or even planning a family vacation. You set your schedule down to the minute. Departure at 8:03 a.m., lunch at 12:15, dinner at 6:47, you name it. And then what happens? Traffic jams, spilled coffee, tantrums from the kids. Sound familiar? The more we try to force life into our neat little boxes, the more it rebels. This is where Stoicism steps in and whispers, accept what you cannot control and focus your energy on what you can. You might ask, well, how do I actually do that? And that's exactly what we'll cover. Over the next few minutes, and in the full series to come, I'll share concrete techniques to release that death grip on things beyond your control. 1. Build a calm, intentional morning routine that sets a positive tone. 2. Turn your mind into your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. 3. Use gratitude and visualization to shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. And to keep things real, I'll draw on my own experiences, yes, even my epic fails, and stories from people who've transformed their lives by letting go. Because nothing resonates more than seeing that change is not only possible, but within your reach. But before we dive into those steps, let me ask you this. What would it feel like to finally stop fighting yourself? To take a deep breath and know, truly know, that whatever happens, you have the resilience and clarity to handle it? Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself smiling, genuinely relaxed, moving through your day with ease. Not because everything went exactly to plan, but because you chose to let go of the panic and trust the process. That vision, that sense of calm confidence, isn't just a pipe dream. It's a skill you can cultivate. And today marks the first step in that journey. So here's what I want you to do right now. Grab a pen and piece of paper. Write down just one thing you're trying to control obsessively. Maybe it's a project deadline, a health goal, or even your next vacation. Got it? Great. Now on that same paper, write, I can't control this, and that's okay. Fold it up, tuck it away, or better yet, crumple it up and toss it out like yesterday's worries. Congratulations. That was more powerful than you might think. You've just taken your first Stoic step, acknowledging the boundary between what you can and cannot control. And in doing so, you've freed up mental space for what really matters. If you're ready to keep building on this momentum, hit that like button below, subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and drop a comment telling me what you wrote down. I'm genuinely curious, and I read every single comment. In the next segment, we'll explore how to craft a morning ritual that transforms chaos into clarity, Think of it as tuning your instrument before the concert of your day begins. No more scrambling for your phone the second you wake up. We're going to make those first waking moments count. So are you ready to let go and step into a calmer, more powerful way of living? Let's take that first mindful stride together. See you in the next video. Think about the last time you felt completely out of control at work. Deadlines looming, your inbox overflowing, and every decision feeling like a high-stakes gamble. That was Javier, one of the top executives in his company, commanding multi-million-dollar projects and managing a team of over 50. On paper, he had it all: respect, authority, a packed calendar. But behind the scenes, stress was eating him alive. One morning during a critical boardroom presentation, it all came crashing down. Javier was walking through his slides, projects, metrics, projections, when suddenly his heart started pounding. His palms grew clammy, his vision blurred, and in the blink of an eye, the confident leader froze. A full-blown panic attack right in front of his peers. He couldn't speak, couldn't move, and all he could feel was sheer terror. In that moment, Javier realized something shocking. No matter how much success he piled up, he was more vulnerable than ever. He wasn't in control. Stress was controlling him. So on a friend's advice, he did something radical. He booked a solo trip to a remote cabin in the mountains. No email, no phone calls, no pressure, just silence. At first, the quiet was deafening. His mind raced. What's happening at work? Am I losing my edge? Are my team members questioning me? But gradually, something amazing happened. As he hiked forest trails and sat by a crackling fire, he remembered the words of Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Instead of fighting every anxious thought, he began to observe them. Instead of resisting the unknown, he practiced acceptance. Each morning, Javier spent 10 minutes journaling, not reports, not forecasts, but raw reflections. Today, I felt tension when I thought about the quarterly targets. Tomorrow, I will pause and breathe. Each afternoon, he took a simple breathing break. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. And each evening, he allowed himself to do absolutely nothing. No productivity hacks, no to-do lists, just quiet. When he returned to the office, everything looked the same. The same packed calendar, the same high-pressure deadlines. But Javier had changed. He stopped cramming every gap in his schedule. He learned to delegate with confidence, trusting his team to deliver. He accepted that traffic jams, tech glitches, and last-minute curveballs are part of the game, not personal failings. The results were remarkable. Meetings became more focused because he wasn't micromanaging every slide. Creative ideas flowed because people felt trusted enough to speak up. Deadlines were met ahead of schedule because energy was spent on real priorities, not on anxious overthinking. And Javier? For the first time in years, he felt a sense of peace. Ask yourself, how many times have you raced against the clock only to end up more exhausted and less productive? What if, like Javier, you could step back, breathe, and reclaim control by letting go of control? What small ritual could you start tomorrow? 5 minutes of silence, a single deep breath exercise, a one-line journal entry that begins to shift the balance from burnout to clarity? Javier's story teaches us that real power isn't about tightening your grip until your knuckles turn white. It's about loosening your hold on what you can't change so you have the energy to focus on what you can. It's about trusting yourself, trusting your team, and trusting the process. And it all begins with a single breath and the courage to press pause. Have you ever tried holding on to a handful of sand as tight as you can? At first, you feel like you've got complete control, every grain locked in place. But the harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers, until you're left with nothing but empty space. That, my friends, is exactly what happens when we try to control every detail of our lives. We think we're staying safe, but really, we're just exhausting ourselves and still losing grip. Imagine you wake up on Monday morning determined to nail every meeting, to answer every email, to predict every curveball. You map out your schedule by the minute, carve out time for lunch, gym, even your commute. And then, traffic jam. Your coffee spills. A surprise request lands in your inbox. By noon, you're more frazzled than motivated. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Letting go of that death grip doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting life's natural flow and discovering that strength actually comes from release. This is the core of Stoic philosophy. And yes, I know Stoicism sometimes sounds like an ancient relic, but at its heart, it's simply the practice of accepting what you cannot control and focusing on what you can. So how do we actually do that? Let's break it down into 3 powerful practical steps you can start using today. Step 2, pause, breathe, reset. Between stress spikes and chaotic moments, there's a simple tool you always have at your fingertips, your breath. The next time you feel tension rising, maybe you're drafting an email or stuck in traffic, pause. Close your eyes for just a few seconds. Inhale slowly to a count of 4. Hold for a beat, then exhale to a count of 6. Try it with me now. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 6. Notice how even this brief pause shifts your state. Your heart rate slows, your thoughts settle, and you're able to respond more clearly. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Think of this as your mental reset button. The more you practice these micro pauses, the less you'll be hijacked by stress. Step 3, build quiet space into your day. In our always-on world, carving out silence can feel impossible, but it's non-negotiable for clarity. I'm not talking about a 3-hour meditation retreat. Just 10 to 15 minutes of genuine nothingness. No phone, no podcast, no to-do list. Maybe it's your morning coffee on the porch. Maybe it's a short walk around the block, headphones off, eyes open. Maybe it's sitting at your desk with your eyes closed, focusing on the sound of your breathing. During this time, let your mind wander or don't wander. There's no agenda. If a thought pops up, simply notice it and let it drift away like a cloud. Over days and weeks, these pockets of quiet accumulate. You'll start noticing insights you never had time for before, an idea for a project, a new approach to a relationship, or just a fresh perspective on your own priorities. Why it works. You might be thinking, this all sounds nice, but does it actually move the needle? The answer is yes. When you release the need to control every outcome, you free up mental and emotional energy. Instead of reacting from a place of tension, you act from a place of calm. Decisions become clearer, creativity flows easier, and your team, your family, your friends feel the difference too. Remember the story of the farmer whose home felt cramped only until he brought in a pig and some chickens, then removed them. The house was the same size, but his perception changed. That's the power of perspective, and gratitude is the glue that holds it together. As you create space, notice what fills it. Ideas, peace, genuine connections, a personal challenge. So here's my challenge to you. Today, pick one moment when you know you'll be tempted to tighten your grip. It could be before a stressful call, when you check email first thing, or even in the checkout line. In that moment, pause, breathe. Do your paper crumple ritual afterwards. Then take just 2 minutes to sit quietly, no distractions. Notice how you feel before and after. I promise you'll sense a shift. And that shift is the first domino in building a life where control doesn't equal stress. Release equals strength. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. It's a bold declaration that you know where your real power lies. In your mind, in your choices, in your ability to respond. Practice these steps and watch how life moves from a frantic scramble to a graceful flow. Trust me, once you taste that calm, you'll never want to go back to squeezing sand. Good morning, friends. Before you even reach for your phone or jump out of bed, pause for a second. Imagine your day as a blank canvas. Every stroke you make in those first few hours sets the tone for everything that follows. Does that resonate? If you've ever had a morning that spiraled out of control, you know exactly what I mean. You hit snooze, scroll through emails, sprint through your routine, and by the time you reach your desk, you're already running on fumes. But what if I told you there's a different way, one rooted in ancient wisdom, yet perfectly suited for our modern lives? Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, considered the morning sacred, a time to clear the mind, set intentions, and prime yourself for whatever challenges lie ahead. He said, begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. In other words, he knew mornings weren't just about getting things done. They were about building mental resilience. So let's craft a morning routine that fuels clarity and joy. Here's how. 1. The 5-minute mind reset. As soon as you open your eyes, sit up in bed, close your eyes again, and take 3 deep intentional breaths. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 2, then exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. Feel your body expand and contract. This isn't just breathing, it's a signal to your brain. Wake up but stay calm. In 5 minutes, you'll notice tension melting away and your thoughts lining up instead of racing in every direction. Quick tip. Place a small reminder, maybe a sticky note on your nightstand that simply says, breathe. It'll cue you to begin your day centered, not scattered. 2. Find your morning spark. Next, let's inject some joy. Seneca didn't have Spotify, but he believed in starting the day with something that made his soul light up. For you, maybe it's a song that makes you tap your foot, a quick dance in your pajamas, or even 15 seconds of jumping jacks to get the blood pumping. The goal isn't to turn your kitchen into a gym, but to send a clear message to your mind and body. Today is alive. Illustration. I remember one morning I swapped my usual grimace at the alarm for a 2-minute dance-off to Uptown Funk. My partner thought I was nuts, but by the time I finished, I felt unstoppable. Try it, hum a tune, stretch toward the ceiling, or simply laugh out loud. That burst of energy will ripple through every meeting and task ahead. 3. Craft your daily intention. Now grab a notebook or journal. Just a couple of lines will do. Write down one clear intention for the day. Not a laundry list, but a focused aim. Today, I will listen fully in every conversation, or I will tackle my top priority by noon, or even I will pause before reacting when things go sideways. This intention becomes your North Star. When distractions arise, you know they will, you'll have something tangible to return to. Question to ponder. What do you most need today? More focus? More patience? More creativity? Your intention is the answer. 4. Hydrate and nourish with purpose. While you sip your water or coffee, resist the urge to launch into notifications. Instead, take that moment to reflect. Feel the warmth of the cup, enjoy its aroma, and think about one thing you are grateful for. Gratitude and hydration, simple acts that ground you. They remind you that even before you do anything productive, you're already nourishing your body and soul. 5. The pre-phone window. Here's a modern twist. Delay checking your phone for at least 30 minutes after waking. I know. That email ping sounds urgent. But science shows our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that makes good decisions, needs time to wake up. Let your mind boot up free from alerts. Use this window for breathwork, music, journaling, or stretching. You'll find fewer reactive impulses and more deliberate actions. 6. Reflect and adjust. At the end of the week, take 5 minutes on Sunday morning to review your intentions. Which ones you honored, which slipped away. This small habit creates a feedback loop. You learn what works for you, what doesn't, and you tweak accordingly. Morning routines aren't one size fits all. They're your personal launch pad. A final thought. I challenge you. For the next 7 mornings, honor this sequence. Mind reset, spark of joy, daily intention, mindful sip, and pre-phone time. Notice the difference in your focus, your mood, even your relationships. I bet by day 3, you'll feel more energized and at peace than you have in months. Remember Seneca's words, mornings are for resilience. When you start strong with clarity and intention, you're not just surviving the day, you're shaping it. And once you shape your morning, you shape your life. Ready to transform your mornings? Give it a go tomorrow. Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier, embrace the quiet, and watch how your world begins to flow differently. Let me know in the comments how it goes, and don't forget to subscribe for more tools to help you live with purpose and calm. Here's to mornings that empower you every single day. Think of your mind like a giant jigsaw puzzle spread out on a table. When the pieces are scattered everywhere, worries, to-do lists, what-ifs, it's impossible to see the picture. Now imagine sorting those pieces by color or edge. Suddenly, the image begins to take shape. That's what clarity feels like when you organize your thoughts instead of letting them run wild. Let me tell you about Captain Sully Sullenberger. On January 15, 2009, his flight lost both engines after bird strikes. Over 150 souls on board. Most pilots would have panicked. Not Sully. In the chaos, he closed his eyes for a split second, took a deep breath, and visualized the landing. No frantic button pushing, just calm, methodical action. He trusted his training, prioritized the steps, and landed that plane safely on the Hudson River. In an instant, his clear mind became everyone's lifeline. So how do we train our own minds to be allies rather than enemies? It starts with two simple but powerful habits. 1, categorize and prioritize your worries. Grab a blank sheet of paper and divide it into 3 columns. Now, soon, and later. In now, jot down anything you can act on immediately. An email you need to send, a call you need to make. In soon, list tasks that require planning, like a project due next week. In later, put worries you can park for another time, things like long-term career planning or future vacations. By visualizing your concerns this way, you stop mentally juggling everything at once. You give each thought its proper place, and your mind breathes a sigh of relief knowing you're not trying to solve the whole puzzle in one go. Quick question. What's the one worry you can move from now to soon or later right this minute? Give it a try. You might feel lighter already. 2, approach problems methodically. Once your worries are sorted, tackle them one at a time. Sully didn't panic about both engines failing and finding a place to land and calming passengers simultaneously. He visualized a single goal, land safely. Then he broke it down. Assess altitude, check glide speed, communicate with air traffic control, prepare the cabin. Step by step, you can do the same in everyday life. Suppose an unexpected budget cut threatens your department. Instead of spiraling into what if the team gets laid off or what if the company closes? Pause. First, identify the core issue. We need to adjust our budget by 15% this quarter. Then list your next actions. Review non-essential expenses, propose cost-saving ideas, schedule a meeting with finance. Each action moves you closer to a solution, and your mind stays calm because it's focused on concrete steps. Your personal mind alley exercise. Right now, pause this video. Take out a piece of paper. Write down that nagging worry that's been looping in your head. Then draw 2 columns, actionable and non-actionable. In actionable, list anything you can do today to move the needle. In non-actionable, write down what's completely out of your hands, like whether someone will respond to your email or if the weather will cooperate for your outdoor event. Close the notebook. You've just given your mind permission to stop spinning its wheels on things you can't control. Why this works. When you categorize, you're literally chunking information. Our brains love that. It's the same way we remember phone numbers by grouping digits. And by approaching one chunk at a time, you transform overwhelm into manageable tasks. Science shows this method reduces cortisol levels and enhances decision-making. You're not just busy, you're effective. A final thought. In life, storms will come. Unexpected layoffs, technical glitches, relationship conflicts. You can't control the storm, but you can control your response. Organize your thoughts, pick one piece of the puzzle, and focus on fitting it in. Soon enough, the bigger picture emerges, and you realize your mind has become your greatest ally, guiding you through chaos with calm precision. So next time your brain feels like a chaotic jigsaw, remember Sully's split-second calm and these 2 habits. Categorize your worries and tackle them methodically. Your mind isn't out to get you, it's waiting for you to give it direction. Make it your ally and watch how the world looks a whole lot clearer. Have you ever raced through your to-do list only to discover you made mistakes? overlooked details, or felt more exhausted than accomplished? I know I have. Rushing tasks feels like we're in control, like we're cramming as much as possible into our day. But more often than not, it backfires. You end up undoing work, redoing steps, and burning out long before you hit your goals. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine, let's call her Maria, once had a fire drill morning at her creative agency. She woke up late, skipped her usual stretch routine, and dove straight into back-to-back calls. By lunchtime, she had checked off a dozen email threads, but the core project she cared about, the brand redesign, was untouched. Worse, her head was spinning. She'd missed errors in her presentation, and her team picked up on her stress. Sound familiar? Here's the secret that Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught us centuries ago. Calm, measured action always trumps frantic speed. When you slow down to think clearly, your decisions become sharper, your work more precise, and your energy, well, it actually lasts longer. So how do we bring calmness into our daily grind? Let's walk through two powerful practices that will transform the way you work. 1. Prioritize thoughtfully. Your one thing filter. Start each moment by asking yourself, what's the single most important thing I could do right now? Not 3 things, not the top 5 emails, just one. I call this the one thing filter. By focusing on a single high-impact task, you direct all your mental energy where it matters most. Example, suppose your inbox is flooded, but you have a looming client pitch in 2 hours. Your one thing isn't answering every email, it's crafting that pitch. So block off 30 uninterrupted minutes, close your email tab, and give yourself permission to zero in on that single task. One day, a wise elder visited his village and told the farmer, "Bring your chickens into the house." The farmer was puzzled but followed the advice. Suddenly, the tiny house was filled with clucking, feathers, and chaos. He spent the entire day tripping over hens, sweeping up straw, and chasing after runaway chicks. Exhausted and exasperated, he went to the elder and said, "This is unbearable. My house is even more cramped now." The elder smiled and said, "Now remove the chickens." The farmer rushed out, opened the door, and let them all outside. In that moment, the house felt spacious and peaceful for the first time. The walls hadn't moved, but his perspective had. He realized that gratitude isn't about changing your circumstances. It's about changing how you see them. Pause for a moment. What's one thing you have been wishing were bigger, better, or different? Hold that thought in your mind for just a second. Now imagine flipping that narrative. Instead of, "I need more time," how about, "I'm grateful for the hour I have right now"? Instead of, "I'm missing out," what if you focused on, "I appreciate what I already enjoy"? This shift might sound small, but it's catalytic. When you train your mind to seek out what's working, you create a foundation of positivity. That positivity fuels creativity and resilience. It's like watering the soil before planting seeds. So here's a simple exercise I want you to try today. 1. Weekly gratitude ritual. Set aside 5 minutes once a week, maybe Sunday evening. Find a quiet spot with a notebook or your phone. Write down 3 things you're genuinely grateful for, but don't stop at listing them. Next to each item, jot down why it mattered this week. For example, "I'm grateful for my morning coffee because it gave me a moment of calm before a busy day." "I'm grateful for my colleagues' support because it reminded me I'm not alone in this project." "I'm grateful for that unexpected rain shower because it forced me to pause and enjoy the fresh air." 2. By exploring the why, you anchor each point in real experience. You're not just saying words, you're reliving moments of abundance. 3. Gratitude meets goals. Now, take your list and connect it to something you want to achieve. Let's say you're aiming to launch a new business. Look at what you wrote and ask, how has this gratitude supported my progress? If you wrote, "I'm grateful for my morning coffee," notice how that calm start helps you think clearly about business plans. If you wrote, "I'm grateful for my team's feedback," recognize that you're building valuable input for your launch. 4. This step transforms gratitude from a passive pause into active fuel for your ambitions. You see the resources you already have, and that confidence propels you forward. 5. Daily micro-gratitude. Finally, weave gratitude into your daily routine. Before you open your laptop in the morning or check your phone at night, take one deep breath and silently acknowledge one small thing you appreciate right at that moment. A warm blanket, a pet's affection, or a supportive text. These micro gratitudes keep you anchored throughout the day, so you're constantly reminded of what's going right. Let me share a personal example. Last year, I was racing to meet a deadline, juggling edits, emails, and a looming premiere date. I felt like I was running on empty. One evening, I paused and wrote down 3 things I valued: my editor's honest feedback, my partner's patience while I worked late, and the buzz of creativity I felt when I listened to a great soundtrack. Suddenly, my stress didn't disappear, but it shifted. I remembered that I had people and processes supporting me. I wasn't on a solo hamster wheel. I was part of a creative ecosystem. That moment of gratitude gave me the boost I needed to power through with clarity and optimism. Here's your challenge. Tonight, take 5 minutes to do the weekly gratitude ritual. Then pick one item from your list and write down how it directly helps you move toward a goal you care about. Tomorrow morning, practice a micro gratitude before you dive into your routine. Notice how this practice changes your energy. You'll find that obstacles feel less daunting when you're standing on a foundation of appreciation. Your mind, once cluttered with not enough, becomes fertile ground for new ideas and unexpected opportunities. Remember, gratitude doesn't create illusions. It sharpens your vision. It helps you see both the field and the footprints already laid in front of you. And when you step forward from that place of acknowledgement, your path becomes clearer, more joyful, and utterly yours to walk. So let's embrace what we have, celebrate our present, and use gratitude as the launch pad for our dreams. I can't wait to hear what you discover. Share your insights in the comments below. Hit that like button if this resonated, and don't forget to subscribe for more tools to help you live with intention and abundance. Here's to seeing blessings in every corner of our lives, starting right now. Do you ever catch yourself jumping at every ping, buzz, or flash on your phone? It's like our attention is a magnet, irresistibly drawn to every notification. But here's the thing. When our minds are constantly bombarded by emails, news alerts, and social media updates, there's barely any room left for the thoughts that truly matter. You want clarity, creativity, and momentum, yet you're trapped in a cycle of distraction. Sound familiar? Let's rewind to a moment last week. I was sitting in my home office trying to craft this very script. My inbox chimed. I reached for my phone. Then a Slack message popped up. I opened my laptop. 2 minutes later, I realized I hadn't written a single word. My mind felt scattered, my stress levels spiking. But my ideas? Nowhere in sight. That's external noise at work. It hijacks our focus and steals our peace. The Stoics had a simple answer: purposeful solitude. Marcus Aurelius didn't have smartphones, but he understood the power of retreating from the world to hear your own thoughts. He'd rise before dawn, seek silence, and let his mind find its bearings before the day's demands arrived. We can borrow that wisdom, no toga required. So how do we actually disconnect in 2025 when every app wants a piece of our attention? Here are 3 practical modern-day strategies I've tested myself, and they work. 1. Designate notification windows. Instead of letting notifications rule your life, schedule specific times to check them. For example, set your phone to Do Not Disturb from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., then again from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., and maybe another block from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. During those windows, you focus on your key priorities: writing, planning, problem solving, without interruption. Illustration. One coach I know calls these periods her deep work zones. She turns off all alerts, closes her email tab, and locks her office door. For 2 hours, she tackles her toughest tasks. When her notification window opens, she processes what's come in and then seals it back up. She's found her productivity has doubled, and her anxiety about what am I missing has disappeared. Try it. Look at your calendar right now. Block at least a 60-90-minute stretch each day where you go tech-free. Use an analog timer, no glowing screens. You'll be surprised how much you can accomplish when you're not afraid of missing a ping. 2. Create nature interruptions. There's a reason hospitals install windows overlooking gardens. Nature resets our nervous system. Even 10 minutes under real sky can reduce cortisol levels and sharpen mental clarity. You don't need a mountain retreat. Your backyard, a nearby park, or even a quiet street corner will do. Personal take. Last month, I challenged myself to take a green break every afternoon. I'd step outside at 3 p.m., phone in my pocket, but screen facing down, and just walk. No podcasts, no calls, just me and the trees. I noticed the wind in the leaves, the patterns of clouds, the distant laughter of kids playing. By the time I returned, ideas flowed more freely than if I'd spent another hour glued to my desk. Question for you. Where's the nearest patch of green in your day? Commit to spending 10 minutes there, device off. Notice how your thoughts settle and fresh perspectives emerge. 3. Build a digital Sabbath. The concept of Sabbath isn't just for Sundays or for religious folks. It's about carving out a regular, predictable time when you step entirely away from screens. No phone, no tablet, no computer. It could be an evening, a half day on the weekend, or even a full 24-hour stretch. Modern twist. Think of it as a mini retreat in your own life. When was the last time you felt truly present? No looking at the clock, no checking news feeds? During your digital Sabbath, you might read a physical book, cook a meal from scratch, write in a journal, or simply sit with your thoughts. You'll likely find that problems you were obsessing over feel more manageable once your mind has room to breathe. Real-world example. A colleague of mine does this every Saturday morning. From sunrise until lunch, her phone is in airplane mode and tucked away. She spends time drawing, playing guitar, and sipping coffee in silence. This habit has become the fuel for her week. She says it's the anchor that keeps her sane and creative. Why these practices work? Our brains are not built to multitask across dozens of digital threads. Each notification is a demand for attention, triggering a mini stress response. Over time, these micro-stresses add up, leaving us fatigued, unfocused, and even resentful of our devices. By scheduling interruptions, stepping into nature, and honoring a regular digital Sabbath, you regain agency over your attention. You choose when to engage and when to step back. Science check. Researchers have found that even brief interactions with nature can improve working memory and boost performance on cognitive tasks by as much as 20%. And those who observe regular technology-free periods while you report lower anxiety and better sleep quality. You're not just being nice to yourself, you're optimizing your brain, putting it into practice. 1. Tonight, pick 1 hour tomorrow morning for a notification window. Turn off all alerts and tackle your most important task. 2. Daily, schedule a 10-minute nature interruption. Step outside without your phone and just notice. 3. Weekly, carve out a 3-4 hour digital Sabbath block. Prepare for it, charge your devices, notify friends you are offline, and plan an activity that brings you joy. Then watch how your experience shifts. You'll find yourself less reactive, more creative, and surprisingly energized by the very act of stepping away. Final reflection. Imagine your mind as a room with a single light bulb. Continuous notifications are like flickering that bulb, distracting and draining. When you disconnect intentionally, you switch to a steady, calm glow. Suddenly, everything in the room, your thoughts, ideas, and inspirations, becomes visible in clear, warm light. So today, ask yourself, when was the last time you gave your mind genuine silence? If the answer isn't recently, it's time to reclaim that space. Build your notification windows, your nature interruptions, and your digital Sabbath. Step back from the noise and let clarity and peace return. Your best ideas have, here's a question for you. When was the last time you woke up feeling genuinely refreshed? Like your brain was sparkling and your energy tank was full? If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone. In our always-on culture, rest often feels like a luxury we can't afford. But here's the hard truth. Rest isn't optional. It's not something you do only when you're exhausted. It's the very foundation of everything you want to achieve. Think about your smartphone. If you never charged it, never let it cool down, eventually it would shut off or slow to a crawl. You'd miss calls, you'd drop apps, and you'd wonder why performance tanked. Your body and mind work the same way. Without regular maintenance, deep sleep, downtime, real recovery, you'll experience mental glitches, decision fatigue, and burnout. No amount of willpower can override a depleted mind. Let's dive into why rest matters so much and how you can make it a powerful tool in your daily life. 1. Sleep, your brain's nightly cleaning crew. Scientific studies show that while you sleep, your brain literally cleans house. Toxins and metabolic waste products that build up during the day get flushed out by the lymphatic system. This deep cleaning happens mostly during the slow-wave stages of sleep, the same stages you skimp if you binge scroll or answer one last email before bed. Without that cleanup, you wake up foggy with memories that slip, focus that fractures, and creativity that stalls. Real talk. I used to pride myself on burning the midnight oil, convinced that more hours meant more productivity. But about a year ago, I started feeling like I was walking through molasses. My best ideas evaded me. My mood dipped, and my to-do list kept growing. A friend challenged me, try logging off 30 minutes earlier for a week. I did, and by day 3, I noticed subtle but powerful shifts. I woke naturally before my alarm, my mind felt sharper, and I even caught myself solving work puzzles in my dreams. 2. Marcus Aurelius wasn't kidding about rest. Even the Emperor of Rome knew rest was strategy, not sloth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, thinking the thoughts of a rational being?" But he also scheduled time to repose, to reflect, and to detach from politics and power. His journals show he valued early sleep, midday breaks, and moments of solitude because he recognized that only a rested mind could lead an empire wisely. Food for thought. If an emperor with world-shaking responsibilities knew he needed rest, what does that tell us about our own high-pressure lives? 3. Screen-free wind-down rituals. We've all heard no screens before bed, but how do you actually make that stick? Here are 3 ideas. Analog transition. Keep a paperback book or journal by your bedside. When your designated lights out time arrives, say 30 minutes before bed, switch off your phone, pick up the book, and read until you feel sleepy. The physical act of turning pages signals to your brain that it's time to unwind. Gentle movement. Try 5 minutes of light stretching or yoga. Focus on slow, deliberate moves, reaching arms overhead, folding forward, gently twisting your spine. This isn't a workout, it's a way to release tension and slow your heart rate. Breath and body scan. Lie on your back, close your eyes, and mentally scan your body from toes to head. As you exhale, imagine each muscle relaxing. A simple inhale through the nose for 4 counts, exhale through the mouth for 6 can bring you into parasympathetic mode, the state your body needs to fall asleep easily. 4. Setting intentions for tomorrow. Tonight, before you drift off, spend 2 minutes writing down 3 things you want to accomplish tomorrow. Not 10 items, just your top 3, stated as positives. I will complete the project outline, or I will connect with my mentor. This practice does 2 things. It clears tomorrow's tasks out of your mind so you can sleep without mental loops, and it primes your subconscious. You're essentially telling your brain, here's what matters. Let me process this overnight. You might be surprised how often solutions and ideas surface in those early moments between sleep and wakefulness. 5. Rest beyond nighttime. Power of micro breaks. Rest isn't just for bedtime. Short, intentional pauses during your day, what I call micro rests, can recharge you in seconds. The 5-5-5 pause. Stop what you're doing, inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 5, exhale for 5. Repeat twice. Look away. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. This simple eye break resets focus and reduces digital eye strain. Mini meditation. Close your eyes for 1 minute and bring full attention to your breath or to a gentle mantra like, I am calm. Integrating these micro rests transforms your day from a marathon into a series of manageable sprints, keeping your energy topped up instead of tanking by noon. 6. Making rest a non-negotiable. Here's a challenge. Block out rest on your calendar like you would a crucial meeting. Schedule your sleep hours, no compromises. Then schedule your wind-down ritual in at least 2 micro-rest periods. Treat these blocks as sacred. Protect them fiercely. Think about it. We budget money, we plan vacations, we book appointments. Why not budget rest? When you treat rest as essential maintenance, your productivity, creativity, and resilience skyrocket. You become someone who performs at their best, not someone who just keeps going until they crash. Final thoughts. Rest is more than shut-eye. It's a strategy for success, a recognition that we're not machines, and a pathway to sustained clarity and energy. When you honor rest, screen-free wind downs, clear intentions, micro breaks, you build a foundation that supports every goal you pursue. Tonight, turn off your screens a little earlier. Write down tomorrow's top 3 intentions. Practice a calming stretch or breath exercise. Then notice how you feel in the morning. More present, more focused, more alive. Because here's the real secret. When you rest well, you don't just survive, you thrive. And that, my friends, is the ultimate power move. Have you ever stared at a mistake you made and felt like the world was ending? Maybe you missed an important deadline, botched a presentation, or launched an idea that fell flat, and suddenly you question everything. Am I cut out for this? Here's the truth. Failure isn't a roadblock. It's a stepping stone on the path to success. Let me tell you about one of the most famous failures in history, the Post-it note. Back in the 1970s, a chemist at 3M named Spencer Silver was trying to create a super strong adhesive. Instead, he ended up with the opposite, a glue so weak it couldn't even hold a scrap of paper onto a wall. You might think that's the end of the story, right? A flop. Scrap the project. But Silver didn't discard his failure. Years later, a colleague named Art Fry, frustrated that his bookmarks kept falling out of his hymn book, had a light bulb moment. He realized Silver's weak adhesive was perfect for a new kind of sticky note, one that stuck lightly and peeled off cleanly. And voila, the Post-it note was born, changing how we organize our lives forever. Pause and think. How many times have you written off a mistake, convinced it was useless, only to miss the hidden opportunity inside it? That's the Stoic perspective on failure. Epictetus taught that it's not the event itself, but our reaction to it that matters. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. It's an experiment that didn't go as planned, offering insights you can't get any other way, but only if you're willing to look. So how do we turn our stumbles into stepping stones? Let me share 3 practical steps that you can use right now. 1. Reframe your mistakes as experiments. Next time something goes wrong, resist the urge to label it a disaster. Instead, think of it as data, valuable feedback about what doesn't work. Ask yourself, what did I expect to happen? What actually happened? What can I learn from that gap? For example, if a marketing campaign flops, don't just blame the timing or the budget. Dive in. Maybe the message didn't resonate or the image wasn't clear. Those insights are gold because they point you toward what to try next. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 1,000 times inventing the light bulb. He found 1,000 ways it didn't work. 2. Build a failure log. Here's a tactic you can start today. Keep a dedicated notebook or digital file called your failure log. Every time you stumble, miss a KPI, have a tough conversation, or launch a product that tanks, write it down, but don't stop at the mistake. In your log, also record what went wrong, brief bullet points. How did I feel? A sentence on your emotional reaction. What's one concrete lesson? Actionable takeaways. Review this log monthly. You'll begin to spot patterns like, I always underestimate how much time a project takes, or I get defensive when I receive feedback. Once you see those patterns, you can address them proactively. Build in extra time buffers. Practice receiving feedback by role-playing, or schedule regular check-ins with a mentor. 3. Celebrate your learning wins. Cultures that stigmatize failure hold people back. Instead, start celebrating your learning wins, those moments when you turned a setback into a new insight. At the end of each week, take 5 minutes to reflect. What did I try that didn't work? What did I learn from it? How will that lesson shape my next step? Share one of these insights with a friend, colleague, or in your team's Slack channel. When you externalize your lessons, you reinforce them in your own mind, and you invite others to see failure as part of growth. I've personally found that talking through a flop with a supportive colleague often sparks the very idea that turns the next version into a success. Let's bring this home with another story. A few years ago, I launched an online course that tanked. Enrollment was half of what I'd projected, and the feedback was underwhelming. At first, I was crushed. Then I did my own little investigation. I surveyed the first cohort, dug into which modules they skipped, and asked what exercises felt confusing. What I discovered reshaped my entire approach. I split the course into shorter, bite-sized lessons, added live Q&A calls, and created a private community forum. The next run sold out in 48 hours. That initial failure was the catalyst. It forced me to refine my content, delivery, and support structure in ways I never would have without that setback. Final thoughts and your challenge. Failure is not your enemy, it's your teacher. When you embrace it, you gain real-world feedback, build resilience, and uncover opportunities you'd never see on a perfectly smooth path. So here's your challenge for this week. Identify a recent setback. Pick one thing that didn't go as planned, big or small. Log it. Write it in your failure log with those 3 bullet points. What, how you felt, and your key lesson. Share a learning win. Tell one person, mentor, friend, or team what you learned and how you'll apply it next time. Watch how this simple shift from fearing failure to embracing it changes not just your results, but how you feel. You'll stop dreading mistakes and start looking forward to the lessons they bring. Remember, every success story is built on a foundation of setbacks. When you learn to use your failures as fuel, you become unstoppable. So lean into that next misstep. Ask yourself, what's this teaching me? And take action. Because in the Stoic view, every challenge is just another opportunity to grow stronger. And that, my friends, is how failure leads to lasting success. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You're walking into a movie theater and the lights dim. A projector hums, and on that big screen, there you are, living your dream life. You see the house you always wanted, the work you're passionate about, the confident smile you wear every day. Everything is unfolding exactly as you've imagined. Welcome to the power of visualization, a mental blueprint that primes your mind and energizes your actions. It's not wishful thinking or a vague daydream. It's a precise, repeatable practice that top performers, from Olympians to CEOs, use to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Why visualization works. Think of your brain like a GPS. If you don't input a destination, it can't guide you. You'll just wander. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, summed it up centuries ago. If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. In other words, without a clear vision of your goal, every effort becomes random, and motivation fizzles out. Modern neuroscience backs this up. When you vividly imagine an action or outcome, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways as if you were actually doing it. Visualization creates an invisible rehearsal, training your mind and body for the real performance. You'll move more confidently, make quicker decisions, and notice opportunities you'd otherwise miss. A simple success story. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine, Sarah, always dreamed of delivering a TED-style talk. But every time she rehearsed in front of a mirror, her heart pounded and her voice shook. She decided to add a visualization step. Each morning, she closed her eyes for 5 minutes and imagined walking on stage, hearing friendly applause and delivering her key message with ease. She focused on the details, what she wore, the lights, the audience nodding in agreement. Fast forward 3 months. Sarah stepped onto a real stage, felt that same calm confidence, and delivered a flawless talk that landed her a speaking tour. Her mental rehearsal created a blueprint her body could follow in reality. How to visualize with clarity. Ready to try it for yourself? Here's a step-by-step guide to make your visualization practice both vivid and effective. 1. Find your quiet space. First, choose a consistent time each day. Morning works best for many people when your mind is fresh. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths to settle in. 2. Define your goal precisely. Instead of "I want to be successful," get specific. I deliver a 20-minute presentation to 100 people and receive enthusiastic feedback. The more detail you include, location, sounds, even smells, the more your mind treats it like a real scenario. 3. Engage all your senses. Visualization is not just visual. Imagine the feel of the microphone, the warmth of the spotlight, the sound of the audience's applause, even the taste of water on your lips afterward. Our brains respond more powerfully when multiple senses are involved. 4. Feel the emotions. Here's the secret sauce. Emotion. Don't just see success, feel the pride, excitement, relief, and joy that come with it. Let those emotions wash over you so deeply that your body responds as if the event is happening right now. 5. Run through the entire scenario. Step through every moment, from preparation to the final bow. Visualize handling unexpected glitches too, like a brief mic feedback or a sudden power flicker, and see yourself adapting calmly. This builds resilience and reduces fear of surprises. 6. End with gratitude. Before you open your eyes, take a moment to feel gratitude for having manifested this vision. Gratitude reinforces positive neural patterns and primes you to look for real-world signs of progress. Crafting already achieved goals. Another powerful twist: write your goals as if they have already happened. Instead of, I want to grow my business by 20% this year, write, I have increased my revenue by 20% through my new coaching program. This simple shift in language sends a clear message to your subconscious. You're no longer chasing a distant dream. You're building a reality you already own. Place these already achieved statements somewhere you'll see daily, on your bathroom mirror, as a phone wallpaper, or in a journal. Every time you read them, you reinforce your mental blueprint and edge closer to making them true. Bringing it all together, a daily ritual. Here's how a complete daily visualization ritual might look. 1. Morning breath and centering, 1 minute. Upon waking, sit up and take 3 deep, intentional breaths. This signals your brain to wake up calmly. 5-minute visualization, 5 minutes. Close your eyes and run through your vivid scenario. Engage sights, sounds, smells, and emotions. Feel it as if it's already happening. 3. Affirmation writing, 2 minutes. Jot down your already achieved goal statement. Write it with conviction and gratitude. 4. Action mapping, 2 minutes. Identify one concrete action you'll take today that aligns with your vision. It could be drafting an outline, making a key call, or researching a new opportunity. 5. Instant gratitude, 30 seconds. Before you move on with your day, thank yourself and the universe for guiding you toward this goal. Total time? Under 10 minutes. The impact ripples throughout your entire day. Overcoming common roadblocks. I'm too busy. Even top athletes and executives carve out these few minutes. Treat this ritual as essential maintenance, not optional fluff. My mind wanders. That's normal. Gently bring your focus back to the vision. Over time, your mental muscle strengthens. Nothing's happening. Visual progress isn't always immediate. Trust the process. Small shifts, new ideas, unexpected connections will start to appear. Your challenge. Tonight, before you go to bed, try your first visualization session. Pick one tangible goal, perhaps a smooth presentation, a successful meeting, or a new creative project completed. Follow the steps. Settle, see, feel, write, and act. Then notice how your focus sharpens tomorrow morning. Share your experience in the comments. What did you visualize? What sensations surprised you? And most importantly, what action did you take afterward? Final thoughts. Visualization isn't magic. It's strategy. It's mapping a path in your mind so that when you walk it in real life, every step feels familiar. When you combine clear direction with emotional energy and consistent practice, you unlock a powerhouse within yourself. Your dreams stop floating in the distance and start taking shape right before your eyes. So dim the lights, press play on your inner projector, and watch your future unfold, one vivid image at a time. Your best life is waiting on that screen. Let's make it real. Have you ever planted a seed in your garden and then stood there, staring at the soil, wondering when will something happen? You water it, fuss over it, check it every hour, and yet nothing seems to change. But under the surface, that little seed is busy. Its roots are growing, pushing down into the earth, and one day, without fanfare, green shoots burst through the soil, and your garden transforms. That simple image reveals a powerful truth. Growth is a process, and real progress often happens out of sight. We live in an age of instant everything, instant messages, instant feedback, instant gratification. But the things worth having, our skills, our relationships, our dreams, they grow like seeds with time, patience, and care. The Stoic secret, natural patience and trust. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, understood this deeply. He wrote, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." He wasn't talking about lazy days in the sun. He was reminding himself that rushing never speeds up real progress. Like a river winding its way to the sea, life flows best when we trust its course instead of fighting every twist and turn. In practice, that means letting go of the illusion of total control. It means planting your intentions and then stepping back, confident that the right conditions, your efforts, your mindset, the circumstances, will slowly but surely bring your goals to life. Trusting unexpected opportunities. Let me share a story that illustrates this in action. A few years ago, I decided to take a leap and start my own creative project, a video series on personal growth. I scripted outlines, booked studio time, and mapped out a launch plan, then promptly fell into a vortex of overplanning. I wanted every detail perfect before I published a single episode. Weeks turned into months, and I hadn't even pressed record. One afternoon, out of frustration, I set aside my plan and filmed a single unedited clip on my phone, just me talking about an insight I'd had that morning. I posted it to social media with zero fanfare. To my surprise, people loved it. Comments rolled in asking for more. Suddenly, my inbox was full of encouragement and invitations to speak on podcasts. That unpolished clip was like the seed that burst through the soil. When I loosened my grip on perfection, opportunity sprung up in an unexpected place. It reminded me, you can't force a green shoot to break the dirt. You provide the seed, the water, the light, and then you watch for the moment it's ready. A daily affirmation to strengthen belief. So how do we cultivate this patient trust every day? It starts with a simple habit, an affirmation, a statement you repeat to yourself that roots you in confidence and persistence. Here's one I use each morning. I plant my intentions today, and I trust they will grow in time. Saying this reminds me that my role isn't to micromanage every step, but to stay consistent, adaptable, and open to what emerges. You can create your own affirmation, something like, I nurture my goals with steady action and boundless faith, or I trust the journey even when the results aren't visible yet. The key is to speak it out loud with conviction, ideally first thing in the morning or right before you begin your work. Practical steps to trust the process. Let's translate this philosophy into action with 3 straightforward practices. 1. Plant with purpose. Define your intention clearly. Whether it's learning a new skill, building a business, or improving your health, write down exactly what you're planting. Break it into small, consistent actions. Water the seed daily. For example, commit to 15 minutes of practice, 1 sales email, or a single healthy meal. These tiny steps create the right environment for growth. 2. Step back without worry. After you've taken your daily action, resist the urge to overanalyze or constantly check for immediate results. Schedule worry-free windows, blocks of time where you do not review analytics, obsess over outcomes, or revisit your work. Use that window to rest, learn something new, or simply breathe. 3. Celebrate the invisible wins. Growth isn't always dramatic. Roots strengthening and leaves preparing to unfurl happen below the surface. Each week, journal 1 subtle sign of progress. A new idea that came easily, a connection with someone who inspires you, a moment when you felt less stress about your goal. These invisible wins are proof that your seed is taking root. A question for reflection. Think about a goal you've been chasing. How many times have you checked, rechecked, or even given up because you didn't see immediate progress? What if, instead of racing to the finish line, you slowed down and trusted the process? Could that shift turn frustration into momentum? Bringing it home. In the garden of life, patience isn't passive, it's active faith. You water, you nurture, you clear away obstacles, but you don't yank at the plant to force growth. You create the conditions and then let nature do its work. So today, plant your intention with care. Speak your affirmation. I plant my intentions today, and I trust they will grow in time. Then step back, give yourself permission to let things unfold, and stay vigilant for the shoots of opportunity that may sprout in the most unexpected places. Because when you trust the process, you align with life's natural rhythm, and that's where true power lies. Ready to see what grows when you loosen your grip? Let me know in the comments and what seed you're planting today. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights on cultivating a life of calm confidence. Until next time, take care and trust the journey. Here's where it all comes together. You've learned to let go of the micromanagement that steals your energy. You've discovered simple rituals, breath pauses, morning resets, gratitude reflections that anchor your mind in calm. You've seen how organizing your thoughts, embracing mistakes, and visualizing your dreams can literally rewire your brain for success. And you've practiced trusting the unseen process, sowing seeds of intention that grow in their own time. All of these steps share one powerful thread. They're Stoic at their core. Stoicism isn't a dusty philosophy locked in ancient tomes. It's a living, breathing guide to showing up for yourself every day with clarity and courage. It reminds us that control is an illusion, that our true power lies in how we respond, and that progress, no matter how small, builds momentum toward the life we desire. So let's take one final breath together. Close your eyes if you can. Feel your shoulders drop. Remind yourself of one key insight you have gained today. Maybe it's the comfort of releasing what you can't control, or the thrill of seeing your future mapped out in a clear mental movie. Let that insight settle in your bones. Now open your eyes and make this simple commitment. I will practice Stoic calm each day, one step at a time. Say it out loud if you're alone, or whisper it to yourself. I embrace calm, clarity, and steady progress. Write that affirmation down. Stick it on your mirror, tape it to your laptop, or set it as your phone wallpaper. Let it be the daily nudge that brings you back to center, keeps you focused on what matters, and reminds you that real change happens through small, consistent actions. If today's video resonated with you, here's how we can continue this journey together. 1. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a tool, story, or exercise that helps you live with purpose and calm. 2. Hit the notification bell. That way, the moment our next Stoic strategy drops, you'll be the first to know. 3. Share your commitment in the comments. What's one Stoic practice you're going to embrace this week? Whether it's a 2-minute breathing pause, a weekly gratitude ritual, or a daily visualization. I read every comment and would love to cheer you on. Remember, even Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal to himself, he knew the value of consistent reminders. You're not in this alone. You have a whole community of fellow Stoic learners here, each taking their own small steps toward calm, clarity, and fulfillment. Finally, if you found value in this content, consider passing it on. Share the video with a friend who could use a bit more calm in their life. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is a gentle reminder that they already have everything they need inside them to thrive. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. I'm honored to walk this path with you. Until next time, breathe deeply, trust the process, and keep moving forward, one calm, intentional step at a time.